What if the exhaustion you feel is not a sign of how hard you are working, but a symptom of how fast you are running from yourself? Have you ever noticed that the moment you finally stop, a quiet sense of panic begins to creep in? Most people do not realize that their endless need to keep moving, to keep doing, to keep achieving is not always driven by ambition. It is often driven by fear. There is a strange kind of freedom in finally admitting that you are tired. But if you have ever felt like you cannot pause without feeling guilty, or that resting feels dangerously close to failing, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may change the way you see this pain forever. 1. The illusion of safety in motion. Here is a truth few people want to face. The tighter you hold on to your constant busyness, the more you suffer. You are not tired simply because you are doing too much. You are emotionally exhausted because you are carrying a heavy load without ever giving yourself permission to set it down. We live in a world where motion is praised and stillness is punished. We fill every quiet moment with noise. We say yes when our spirit is screaming no. We push through the fatigue, staring at screens, crossing off lists, telling ourselves that once this project is done, once this week is over, then we will finally rest. But that tomorrow never comes, because the moment the noise fades, the quiet feels too loud. Slowing down feels profoundly unsafe. It feels like falling behind. It feels like you are losing your grip. So you keep moving. You abandon your own well-being just to keep the machine running. Buddhist wisdom teaches a different path. It reminds us that much of our suffering comes from escaping the present moment. We build fortress walls out of our daily tasks to avoid sitting quietly with ourselves. But true peace cannot be found by running faster. It is found in the stillness we are so desperately trying to avoid. In Buddhist thought, clarity only arises when the muddy waters of the mind are finally allowed to settle. Imagine a person rowing a small wooden boat against a powerful current. Their arms are burning. Their breath is short. They believe that if they stop rowing for even 1 second, they will be swept away into disaster. So they row, day and night, ignoring their calloused hands and their breaking spirit. They call this endurance. They call this strength. But they are entirely blind to the fact that just a few feet away is the shore. All they have to do is let the oars go, allow the boat to gently drift to the bank, and step onto solid ground. You are the person in the boat. The heavy oars are your obligations, your worries, and your endless tasks. You are so afraid of what happens if you stop pulling that you are slowly breaking yourself. You answer the messages late at night. You carry the emotional weight of everyone around you. You push through the deep fog in your mind. Ask yourself, what are you actually running from? What are you afraid will happen if you simply let go of the oars and sit in silence? Pause, breathe. Let that sink in. Observe the urge to jump to the next task without following it. Let the feeling of urgency rise without making it your identity. You do not have to obey the anxiety that tells you to keep moving. Because safety is not found in endless motion, it is found in your ability to anchor yourself in the present moment, no matter how quiet it gets. Peace is not something you chase. It is something you make space for. But stepping out of this endless cycle is incredibly difficult, especially when the world praises you for burning yourself to the ground. And this is where the next truth begins. 2. The danger of calling depletion ambition. What if the drive you are so proud of is actually a disguise for self-punishment? Here is a truth that is deeply uncomfortable to accept. We have been conditioned to wear our exhaustion as a badge of honor. We look at our empty cup and call it dedication. We sacrifice our peace, ignore the quiet aching in our bodies, and force ourselves to keep performing, believing this is the price of success. We compare ourselves to others who seem to be constantly moving and constantly achieving, and we feel a sharp pang of guilt if we dare to simply sit still. You stay up late, fixing problems that can wait. You take on the emotional burdens of everyone around you. You push yourself far beyond your natural limits to ensure no one is disappointed. But slowly, without realizing it, you have begun to confuse self-abandonment with ambition. Buddhism reminds us of the profound teaching of the middle way. It suggests that walking the path of peace requires a delicate balance. If you tighten the string of an instrument too much, it will snap under the pressure. If you leave it too loose, it will not play a single note. Our modern world encourages us to tighten the string until it is on the verge of breaking, and to call that dangerous tension greatness. But Buddhist wisdom teaches that action born out of grasping, fear, or a desperate need to secure your worth will only lead to deeper suffering. True effort does not require you to destroy yourself in the process. Imagine a deep, quiet well that provides water for an entire village. It is steady and clear, but if you pull heavy buckets of water from it every single hour, day and night, without ever waiting for the quiet rains to replenish it, what happens? The water runs out. You begin to draw up muddy water, and soon you are left scraping dry earth. You cannot force a well to give water when it is empty. Yet, this is exactly what you do to your own spirit. You scrape the bottom of your emotional well and demand more. You try to force patience, energy, and care when there is simply nothing left to give. You face your daily work stress, the endless expectations of your family, and the silent pressure to keep up with life, all while running on empty. You are pulling mud from the well, and you are angry at yourself for not being clear water. Think about your own life. Who are you trying so desperately to prove your worth to? Is this endless pushing truly bringing you joy? Or is it just a habit you are too afraid to break? What are you afraid will happen if you let people see that you are tired? Pause, breathe, gently release the tension in your shoulders. Observe the feeling of needing to do more without letting it control you. Remind yourself that you do not have to earn your right to exist. It is time to stop calling your depletion a victory. True strength is knowing when to stop, when to lay down the heavy bucket, and when to simply let the rain fall. But recognizing your exhaustion is only one part of the journey. The harder question is why the thought of stopping makes you feel so incredibly vulnerable. Because beneath every reaction is a fear waiting to be understood. 3. Why stillness feels like a threat. What if the silence you are avoiding is exactly what you need to finally heal? Here is the truth few people want to face. The tighter you hold onto the noise, the louder your inner pain becomes. We often think of rest as a beautiful, peaceful destination. But for someone who has spent their entire life pushing through exhaustion, stopping does not feel like rest. It feels like an ambush. When you finally sit down, when the screen goes dark and the daily tasks are finished, all the thoughts you have been outrunning suddenly catch up to you. You replay awkward conversations. You worry endlessly about a future you cannot control. You feel a creeping, heavy anxiety in your chest. And worse, you feel a deep, unsettling guilt. The guilt whispers that you are being lazy, that you are falling behind. So, you reach for your phone. You find a new chore to complete. You invent a new problem to solve. You do absolutely anything to escape the quiet room. Buddhist wisdom teaches that much of our suffering comes from our desperate attempt to escape what is uncomfortable. The mind is naturally restless, always seeking the next distraction. In Buddhist thought, stillness is not an empty void to be feared. It is a clear mirror. When the water of a lake is completely still, it reflects everything perfectly, both the beautiful sky and the dark storm clouds. If you constantly run from the mirror, you never learn to see your own mind with compassion. We are reminded to practice non-attachment to our discomfort, To simply sit, watch the difficult feelings arise, and let them pass like weather rather than running away. Imagine a small bird trapped inside a vast, quiet house. Every time the house goes still, the bird panics. It throws itself frantically against the heavy glass windows, desperate to escape the silence. It exhausts itself flying violently from room to room, seeking an exit, terrified of the space it is currently in. It believes that movement is the only way to survive. It does not realize that if it simply landed, folded its weary wings, and waited calmly, it would realize the door was always open. You are doing this to your own mind. When your daily work slows down, when a relationship shifts, or when a long weekend stretches out empty before you, you panic. You throw yourself against the glass walls of distraction. You fill your schedule with obligations you do not even want to attend. You drown yourself in social media. You take on extra responsibilities just to avoid the overwhelming quiet. You are terrified that if you stop, you will finally have to face your loneliness, your fear of failure, or the quiet realization that you are exhausted. Think about your own life. What are you avoiding in the silence? What difficult truth is waiting for you in the quiet that you are so deeply afraid to face? Is this endless distraction bringing you peace, or is it feeding your fear? Pause. Breathe. Sit in a quiet space for just 1 minute today without trying to fix anything. Observe the urge to move without following it. Let the discomfort rise like a wave and watch it break softly on the shore. Stop fighting the silence, because peace is not the absence of difficult thoughts. It is the quiet courage to sit with them without running away. You do not have to abandon yourself the moment things get quiet. But to stay with yourself, you must first learn how to listen to the physical vessel that carries you. And this is where the next truth begins. 4. Listening to the wisdom of the body. What if your physical exhaustion is not a weakness, but a desperately needed boundary? Here is the truth we often ignore. We are taught to treat our bodies like machines, designed only to produce and perform. When your eyes burn from staring at a screen too long, you force them to stay open. When your shoulders ache from carrying the weight of 1,000 obligations, you just adjust your posture and carry it anyway. When your energy completely crashes, you do not rest. You simply consume more caffeine and demand that your body keep up with your endless drive. You have become an expert at silencing your own physical pain. But the tighter you hold on to this forceful control, the more you suffer. Because when you refuse to listen to the body's gentle whispers, it will eventually be forced to scream. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the body is not an obstacle to be overcome. It is the very anchor of our present moment. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is mindfulness of the body, recognizing that physical sensations are the most honest reflections of our inner state. The mind can lie. The mind can convince you that you are perfectly fine, that you can handle just one more project, that you are not running on empty. But the body always tells the truth. In Buddhist thought, learning to listen to these physical sensations without judgment is the first step toward true compassion for yourself. Imagine a strong, ancient tree standing on the edge of a great cliff. For years, it has survived fierce storms and harsh winds. But beneath the soil, its roots are slowly drying up. There has been a long drought, and the earth is crumbling. Yet, instead of conserving its energy, the tree tries to force new leaves to grow, trying to look vibrant and strong for the surrounding forest. It pours all of its remaining water into outward growth, completely ignoring the hollow weakness developing in its trunk. It looks beautiful on the outside, but the very next strong wind will easily tear it from the earth. You are doing this to yourself. You are forcing the leaves to grow when your roots are completely dry. You ignore the tight chest, the shallow breathing, and the constant tension in your jaw as you navigate family conflict or the heavy pressure to succeed at work. You feel the deep, physical drain when you say yes to things you do not have the energy for, yet you force a smile and push through. You sacrifice your foundation to keep up an image of strength. You believe that pushing through illness and ignoring your need for true rest makes you resilient. Think about your own life. What is your body quietly asking for that your mind stubbornly refuses to give? Are you honoring the physical vessel that carries you, or are you punishing it for not being unbreakable? What are you afraid will happen if you finally admit that you are physically done for the day? Pause, breathe, gently drop your heavy shoulders, feel the ground beneath your feet, observe the physical tension you are holding right now, without trying to judge it or immediately fix it. Let the feeling exist. You are not a machine meant to run until you break. Honoring your physical limits is not a failure. It is the ultimate act of self-respect. You can stop fighting the very vessel that keeps you alive. But learning to respect your body means you have to stop defining your entire existence by how much you can accomplish. And this is where the next truth begins. 5. Letting go of the productivity identity. What if the person you are so desperately trying to be is the very thing destroying who you actually are? Here is the truth few people want to face. The tighter you hold on to what you do, the more you lose who you are. We live in a world that asks us what we do before it asks how we are. Because of this, you have likely built an entire identity around being the reliable one, the hard worker, the person who never drops the ball. You base your daily self-worth on the number of items you can cross off a list before the sun goes down. But when the list is finally empty, or when you are simply too tired to work, you do not feel peace. You feel entirely useless. You compare your quiet, resting days to everyone else's endless achievements, and you feel a crushing, heavy sense that you are falling behind in life. You are terrified that if you are not producing, you have no value to the people around you. Buddhist wisdom teaches the profound concept of non-attachment, particularly non-attachment to the ego. In Buddhist thought, the labels we attach to ourselves, successful, productive, tireless, are just illusions. They are not our true nature. When we cling tightly to a specific identity, we create our own suffering, because all identities are subject to change. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is that you are not your job, your output, or your praise. You are the quiet awareness behind all of those things. If your worth is entirely tied to motion, you will deeply suffer the moment life forces you to be still. Imagine a person holding tightly to a heavy stone in the middle of a fast-moving river. The stone is carved with the word important. They believe that if they let go of the stone, the river will sweep them away into nothingness. So they hold on, their arms aching, the icy water rising around their chin. They are so focused on clinging to the stone that they do not realize the river itself is shallow. If they simply dropped the heavy weight, they could stand up, breathe easily, and walk calmly to the shore. You are holding the heavy stone of productivity. You carry the intense pressure to succeed at work, to constantly be achieving, and to always have something impressive to show for your time. You are drowning under the weight of expectations, exhausted by the constant need to prove your worth to a world that will never be fully satisfied. You cling to this heavy stone because you are afraid that without it, you are nobody. Think about your own life. Who are you when there is nothing left to accomplish for the day? What are you afraid people will see if you simply let go of the need to be constantly useful? Is this identity bringing you peace, or is it dragging you under? Pause, breathe. Observe the thought that you are not doing enough, without believing it is true. Let the feeling of inadequacy rise and fade like clouds drifting across the sky. You do not have to earn your right to exist, because true worth is not found in what you produce. It is found in the simple, profound fact that you are here. You do not need to constantly build a fortress of achievements to protect yourself, but walking away from the need to prove yourself requires you to confront the very act of stopping. And this is where the next truth begins. 6. The true power of the pause. What if the moment you stop trying to fix everything is the exact moment everything begins to heal? Here is the truth few people want to face. We view pausing as a form of surrender. We have convinced ourselves that if we stop fighting, trying, and managing every tiny detail, our entire lives will fall apart. You try to force a relationship to work when the other person is pulling away. You try to control the exact timing of your success. You replay difficult conversations over and over in your mind, desperately trying to figure out how to change an outcome that has already happened. We believe that stepping back means giving up, so we stay engaged in mental and physical battles that only drain us. We are terrified that a single pause will erase all of our hard-earned progress. Buddhist wisdom teaches the profound value of intentional stillness. In Buddhist thought, the pause is not an empty, lazy space. It is the sacred space where clarity is actually born. We are often taught that we must react to every feeling, solve every problem, and answer every demand immediately. But one of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is that you do not have to participate in every storm you encounter. When the water of a lake is violently agitated, you cannot see the bottom. Only by leaving it entirely alone does the mud finally settle. Imagine a person trying to untangle a massive, complicated knot of thick, rough rope. The harder they pull at the strings, the tighter the knot becomes. Their fingers are bruised. They grow deeply frustrated, yanking at the heavy threads, trying to force the rope straight through sheer willpower. But the forceful pulling only locks the fibers deeper together. It is only when they finally stop pulling, loosen their aggressive grip, and gently create space between the threads that the knot begins to naturally loosen on its own. You are pulling at the heavy knot of your own life. When you face a difficult decision, when you feel ignored by someone you care about, or when you feel overwhelmed by the pressure to succeed, you pull harder. You overwork, you overcommunicate, you overthink, trying to force a clean resolution. You believe that your relentless, exhausting effort is the only thing holding your fragile world together, without realizing that your forceful grip is the very thing creating the painful tension. Ask yourself, what knot are you pulling on right now that is only getting tighter? What would happen if you simply loosened your grip and stepped back for a moment? Is your constant, desperate effort bringing you clarity, or is it just bringing you more exhaustion? Pause, breathe. Take your hands off the problem for just one moment today. Let the situation exist without your immediate intervention. Observe the deep fear that tells you to keep pulling without following it. You do not have to solve everything right now. The pause is not a weakness. It is the highest form of strength. You can stop forcing the heavy door open and simply wait, but choosing to step back and let things settle forces us to look at the very shadows we have been running from all along. And this is where the next truth begins. 7. Facing what we are running from. What if the terrible monster you have been fleeing, your entire life, is just a quiet, wounded part of yourself asking to be seen? Here is the truth few people want to face. We do not push ourselves to the point of absolute depletion simply because we have too much to do. We do it because we are terrified of what will catch up to us if we finally stop. When you strip away the busyness, the endless tasks, and the noise of the day, what is left? Often, it is a deep, unsettling emotional pain. You might bury yourself in work to avoid the reality of a failing relationship. You might say yes to every single request because you secretly fear that if you are not useful, you will be abandoned. You scroll endlessly on your phone to drown out the quiet, aching feeling of loneliness. We use our physical and mental exhaustion as a heavy shield. We convince ourselves that as long as we are moving, we do not have to feel. Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering multiplies when we practice aversion, when we violently reject or run from our own inner pain. In Buddhist thought, the shadows we refuse to look at do not disappear, they only grow heavier. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is the practice of turning toward our suffering with gentle compassion. You do not have to fight the pain, and you do not have to fix it immediately. You only have to sit with it, acknowledge it, and let the light of quiet awareness soften its hard edges. Imagine a traveler running desperately through a dense, dark forest at night. They hear the heavy, terrifying footsteps of a beast right behind them. Their heart is pounding, their lungs are burning, and they are pushing their exhausted body through thorns and jagged rocks, absolutely terrified to look back. Finally, they hit a steep, dead end. They collapse, unable to run another step. Trembling, they turn around to face the terrible monster. But as the calm moonlight breaks through the trees, they see there is no beast at all. It is only their own shadow, stretched long and distorted by the darkness. You are the exhausted traveler. You have spent years running from the fear of failure, the pain of being ignored, or the quiet belief that you are simply not enough. You work late into the night. You jump from one distraction to the next. You force yourself to stay constantly busy, tearing yourself up on the jagged rocks of stress and burnout, convinced that if you pause, the shadows will consume you. You are exhausted from running from a threat that only exists in your mind. Think about your own life. What are you truly running from? What painful memory, quiet insecurity, or deep fear is waiting for you in the stillness? Is the endless exhaustion of running really less painful than simply turning around to face the shadow? Pause, breathe, observe the fear of stopping without letting it control your actions. Let the discomfort rise. Look at it gently and realize it has no power to destroy you. You do not have to spend the rest of your life running from your own mind, because the shadow is not a monster. It is just an unhealed part of you, asking for a moment of peace. But to truly offer yourself that peace, you must realize that you are already worthy of it, exactly as you are. And this is where the next truth begins. 8. Discovering your inherent worth. What if you stop trying to earn the space you take up in the world? Here is the truth we deeply misunderstand. We have been conditioned to believe that our value is a ledger. We treat our self-worth like an account we must constantly make deposits into through our hard work. We believe that if we are not actively helping someone, solving a problem, or achieving a goal, our worth drops to zero. You bend over backward to please people who do not appreciate you. You silence your own needs so you do not become a burden. You constantly evaluate your value based on how much you accomplished today, how well you performed, or how much praise you received. You trade your peace for validation, completely abandoning yourself in the process, believing you must endlessly buy your right to be loved. Buddhist wisdom teaches a completely different understanding of who you are. In Buddhist thought, your worth is not something that fluctuates with your daily achievements. It is unconditioned. We often forget this, getting lost in the illusion that we are empty vessels waiting to be filled by the world's approval. But one of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is that your true nature is already whole, already complete, and completely untouched by external judgment. You do not have to perform to exist. Imagine an ancient, priceless statue made of solid gold. Centuries ago, to protect it from thieves, people covered the gleaming gold in layers of thick, heavy clay. Over time, everyone forgot what was underneath. The statue was judged only by its rough, cracked exterior. Passers-by ignored it, assuming it was just ordinary mud. But the clay never changed the gold. The gold did not lose a single ounce of its value, simply because it was hidden. And the gold certainly did not need to prove it was gold by doing anything at all. It only needed the heavy clay to be gently washed away. You are walking through life carrying layers of heavy clay. The clay is your need for approval, your fear of failure, and your desperate habit of overworking. You believe you must constantly paint the clay, polish the clay, and present the clay to the world to prove you are valuable. You exhaust yourself trying to mold this outer shell to fit the endless expectations of your family, your workplace, or a society that only values motion. You have completely forgotten the gold underneath. You think you are the heavy mud of your exhaustion, not realizing your inherent worth has been fully intact this entire time. Think about your own life. Whose expectations are you still trying to meet? What are you still trying to prove? And who are you trying to prove it to? What would happen if you simply stopped trying to convince the world that you matter? Pause. Breathe. Place a hand gently over your chest. Observe the heavy, familiar need for external validation without following it. Let the feeling rise, and remind yourself that you do not need to do anything today to earn the air you breathe. You are allowed to lay down the heavy armor. You are allowed to be completely still, quiet, and at peace. Because true worth is not something you build, it is something you remember. But letting go of a lifetime of pushing yourself to the edge requires one final, deeply profound act of bravery. And this is where the final truth begins. 9. The courage to finally rest. What if the greatest act of bravery you will ever perform is simply choosing to sit still? We began this journey by asking why we run. We looked at the heavy burden of constant motion, the illusion of safety we build out of our endless tasks, and the profound fear that grips us the moment things finally get quiet. For so long, you have lived under the deeply mistaken belief that if you just push a little harder, work a little longer, and carry just a little more weight, you will eventually reach a place where you can relax. You have treated your own depletion as a necessary sacrifice for a future peace that never actually arrives. You have abandoned your own well-being just to keep the machine running. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us that peace is not found at the end of a grueling, exhausting race. It is found in the exact moment you decide to stop running. In Buddhist thought, true liberation comes from releasing the tight, desperate grip we have on the world and on ourselves. The goal is not to endure the pain of pushing forever. The goal is to realize that the heavy rope you have been pulling on is attached to nothing. Letting go is not an act of defeat. It is the ultimate act of self-respect. Imagine a fast-moving river that has spent its entire existence rushing down from the mountains. For hundreds of miles, the river cuts aggressively through hard stone, navigates dangerous rapids, and forces its way through deep, narrow canyons. The water is violent, frantic, and always pushing forward, believing that this forceful motion is the only thing keeping it alive. But eventually, the river meets the vast, open ocean. When the water flows into the sea, it does not disappear. It does not fail. It simply stops struggling. The frantic, exhausting pushing ends. The river surrenders its narrow, violent path and suddenly becomes something impossibly deep, still, and vast. You are the rushing river. You have spent years crashing against the rocks of expectation, overworking, over-explaining, and pushing yourself far beyond your natural limits. You have been fighting for so long that you have forgotten how to simply flow. But you do not have to fight the current of your own life anymore. The vast, quiet ocean of peace is already waiting for you. All you have to do is surrender the desperate need to constantly push. Think about your own life as it is right now. You have done enough. You have carried enough. You have worried enough. What would it feel like to finally give yourself permission to just be? Pause. Breathe. Let the heavy weight drop from your shoulders. Observe the quiet space around you and realize that in this moment, there is nothing left to fix, nothing left to prove, and nowhere else you need to be. You are allowed to step off the battlefield. You are allowed to stop calling your own destruction ambition. You do not have to abandon yourself to feel safe in the world. True safety is found in meeting yourself with gentle, unwavering compassion, exactly where you are. The stillness you have been avoiding is not empty. It is full of the peace you have been desperately searching for all along. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. You can let go now.